Hello friends, I'm going to show you the surgical video of an advanced cataract in a patient who had radial keratectomy for high myopia 25 years ago. Coming to patient's profile, patient has undergone 12 incision radial keratectomy 25 years ago and patient has no past records of refraction prior to RK surgery. On keratometry, patient has flat cornea and pre-op refraction of high myopia with poor acceptance of 660. This patient had post-op refraction of plus 2.5 cylinder at 160 degree and acceptance of 6 by 9 according to Snellen's chart. Some of you would ask why I haven't put toric IOL. Yes, it's definitely a better option as compared to monofocal IOL, but in this case, patient was not financially sound, so he opted for monofocal IOL. We face some challenges in such cases, like it is difficult to calculate accurate IOL power as central cornea is irregular, and in present case pre-RK refractive status is also not known and radial cuts are involving central 3 mm cornea. Next, bigger challenge is weak cornea, that is radial cuts in radial keratectomy can be up to 90% deep, and these leaflets can open up during surgery cause of direct manipulation or tremendously increased intraocular pressure, which can go up to 60 to 70 millimeters mercury. Now, question arises how to deal with such cases. To make IOL calculation more accurate, we should get done corneal topography. In my case, I did pentacam to find out the exact central flattest corneal value, keratometry value, and we can feed these values in ASCRS IOL calculator online, for which I have provided the link also. Now, next, how to deal with weak cornea. Most important thing is make main port for phacosurgery via scleral tunnel. Now, make side ports avoiding incision lines of RK and keep phaco machine settings low, lower irrigation and aspiration, and lower bottle height. This is the sample of chart you will get on feeding the parameters on ASCRS IOL calculator. We shall do this case in topical anesthesia. Now coming to the surgical video, we start with peritomy and scleral tunnel. We do peritomy with conjunctival scissor in 1 to 2 clock hours on superior limbus. We do electrocautery for hemostasis. Now we mark a partial thickness scleral cut to find a plane for scleral tunnel. With the help of a crescent, we make a scleral tunnel and we go up to the 2 mm of cornea. We make side ports avoiding the incisions of radial keratectomy, so that while doing surgery we don't put pressure on these incisions. The eye should be adequately filled with visco so that incisions should be easy. Now we stain anterior capsule with trypan blue dye after putting air bubble. Now I usually put intracameral 0.5% lignocaine so that patient would be comfortable. Now fill the anterior chamber with dispersive viscoelastic before starting the capsular axis. We start continuous curvilinear capsular axis with 26 gauge bent needle. This axis should be adequately sized and nearly 5.5 millimeter in size, so that it should cover 0.5 millimeter of margins of optic of IOL. Now axis is completed. Now we enter the anterior chamber with 2.8 millimeter keratome through the scleral tunnel. We lift the anterior capsule margin and do hydrodissection. After that we do hydrodelineation. We can see golden ring formed by nucleus. We rotate the nucleus so that nucleus becomes mobile. We fill the chamber with viscoelastic. Now starting with phaco, we clean the cortical material on the nucleus first, and I prefer direct chop in such cases. We crack the nucleus in two halves with the help of Sinskey hook or dialer. I prefer vertical chop technique, and nucleus is further divided into multiple pieces, 3, 4, 5 or up to 6 pieces. You can divide it into further. The nucleus should be rotated with the other hand with the help of chopper. That's the reason we rotate the nucleus after hydrodelineation. Now we eat all these nuclear pieces in the phaco 2 settings or quadrant removal settings. We should be careful that bag and anterior chamber should be formed all the times, as in high myope the posterior capsule is freely floating and the anterior and the depth of the chamber is highly fluctuating. On top of that, we have decreased the settings of phaco machine also. So if required, we should fill the chamber with viscoelastic in between. Now we are dislodging the epinuclear plate with hydro cannula. With epinuclear plate removal settings, we remove the epinuclear plate. We keep feeding the phaco probe with the help of Sinskey hook all the time to conserve unnecessary or to conserve the use of phaco power. With the bimanual irrigation and aspiration, we remove the cortical material and again, not to mention, as the settings of the machines are on lower side, we should be very careful, as the maximum number of posterior capsular rupture occurs in irrigation and aspiration. So you should be always careful not to touch or not to rupture posterior capsule. Now, after filling the bag with viscoelastic before IOL implantation, the single piece hydrophobic IOL is implanted into the bag, and IOL is centered in the bag. Haptics are positioned and optic is centralized. Now we can see IOL is stable. After that, we should remove viscoelastic. Should go behind the lens also to remove the viscoelastic between IOL and posterior capsule. And after thorough viscoelastic removal from the bag and anterior chamber, we should hydrate the side ports and form the chamber, and we should check for any leakage of side ports, leakage of radial incision. In this case, we can see the RK incisions are not leaking. We confirm this with a modified Siedel's test. It's a modification of Siedel's test. We use trypan blue dye and there is no leakage. Now we seal the conjunctiva, close the conjunctiva with the help of cautery. We can use 10-0 temporary sutures, nylon sutures also to close the conjunctiva. Thank you. Thanks for watching.